Uh, it's true. This time around, I've actually determined that this is the November Patreon and is the first month where I haven't forgotten what month it is. It's also going to be the year end Patreon meeting because I have vacation for the first half of December and the second half of December is holidays, so I don't expect anyone to be able to make the next Patreon meeting. So, viewership is slightly down this year. YouTube is marked at 1.6 million minutes watched with 103,000 views. And viewership in a specific demographic I've been trying to push harder for, female viewers, is also down somehow by 1%. By comparison, last year was 1.67 million minutes and 109,000 views. However, we have twice as many likes on videos as last year. Viewership on Twitch has continued to rise at a flat, steady rate, which is a little creepy. Almost all of the growth can be attributed either to BattleTech or Sid Alpha's growing popularity. So there's that. This year we've seen the end of Winter's Edge 1, Chrome Blood, which was a very popular play-by-post that heavily divided the community between people who hated it and people who liked it. Okeanos, The Guard Prevails, Shadowrun Hawaii, which was canceled before it ever managed to finish out. 2 Moto Bushido one-shots, a bunch of Burning Wheel games, a lot of On the Tabletop, which has been quiet for a little while, but is about to make a comeback in December, and a 2-shot called Sparks of Light, a magical girl RPG. There's also been far fewer direct YouTube gaming recordings. These have not been popular, caused a massive time investment, and are generally unwatched. The current lineup is the Restart Show, which is more popular than Winter's Edge, despite having just launched. It's really popular on YouTube compared to watching it live. Given that it's all anime bullshit, it has completely divided my community between people who watch anime and people who just like D&D. Next up is Winter's Edge 2, which is having a lot of trouble meeting on a regular basis. It's been dwindling in popularity since the play-by-post ended. However, last night's episode was pretty well received and already is getting a bunch of comments on YouTube. And the new flagship show, which should be on Saturday but is now on Thursday, is BattleTech, which is insanely popular and is the first show to finally dethrone Mistborn from the top 10 list. And there's like currently 8 BattleTech videos, and they're all more popular than Mistborn. On a less professional note, one of my favorite BattleTech authors, Blaine Pardoe, who wrote most of my favorite BattleTech books, started following me on Twitter, so I feel like I'm going in the correct direction. I first read his book 17 years ago and have been following him on and off ever since. GM preps are way more popular this year. 2017 has been the year of the GM prep. I'm not really big on doing these, but they're highly watched, and a lot of people said that they found them extremely helpful. So I think I need to focus on doing these more. Currently, the following shows are slated to begin in the near future. Burning Wheels got a new game called In Service to Our Lord. It's going to be a court intrigue game with Zircon 5, Wise Fool, and EQ Mag. Sundays at 8 o'clock starting in January. We also have a unconfirmed. We've got like 90% of people checking in onto whether they can do these next 2 games or not. Is On the Tabletop episode on the 27th is going to be Made RPG Part 2 with the same cast, with Aerocyto drawing, and then Aerocyto again on the 20th, doing Witch Quest, which is the show. It's a Kiki's Delivery Service, very Miyazaki-ish anime witch girl type thing. For Christmas, the week of Christmas, I'll be bringing back XCOM 2 to do the new DLC War of the Chosen and Iron Man, and I'm gonna attempt a 24-hour stream on Christmas, to just knock that out. I'm gonna be wearing the Santa hat the whole time. The Patreon itself has generated over $1,000 this year, and all of it, literally every cent. I cleaned out the account last month. Was spent on art and music, audio-visual equipment for two longtime stream partners. We went from having like 200 pieces of art to like 340 this year, so art has been hot, hot, hot. That covers recent stuff and the entire year. Man, that was very, very fast. Does anyone have any questions? Because that was a lot of stuff.
Sounds good.
All right. Future shows that are on the back burner. Sons of Gold is still waiting to find a night. It'll probably be replacing Winter's Edge 2 whenever that dies. I've been reviewing Stars Without Numbers Revised, and I'm most of the way through it. I just got past ship combat, and I'm pretty impressed. I'm probably going to switch everything over to Stars Without Numbers Revised, and Sons of Gold as a giant spreadsheet trading game will stay intact and launch. I'm also writing my own system called Mass Driver. It's going to be a modification of Stars Without Numbers Revised, based on like Gundam, Gundam 00, Gundam Wing. That's going to be a mecha political intrigue type game. I'll be working on that during my cruise. We'll see how far I get done on that. The psychological horror and despair game Silent Legions, which is also based on Stars Without Numbers, having a lot of that on the docket here, is probably going to remain on there for literally forever. It's pretty tough finding a group willing to commit to something like that. And ever since playing Doki Doki Literature Club, I really want to move in that kind of horror direction rather than jump scares and Cthulhu.
What do you mean by that direction? Could you clarify?
Have you watched Doki Doki Literature Club?
I have not.
Then I cannot clarify.
Okay.
Without spoiling the game. It's a Doki direction. It'll make you Doki Doki. You saw part of it. You came in for
I
the
watched like 10
you came
minutes.
in for the really bad part where it's just Monica talking for 45 minutes.
Yeah. But that didn't seem horrific to me. It just
No.
seemed...
The rest of the game was the horrifying
Okay.
part. Listen, you should play it and just hang in there, right until the very end.
Okay.
Also on the list is A Song of Ice and Fire. This one, I think, kind of flew under people's radar. We did a very well-received play of it. But I haven't been able to follow up because it's pretty involved, and I want it to be open PvP between players.
Which game?
Song of Ice and Fire. It's Game of Thrones system.
Oh, yeah, that one.
I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
I remember.
I feel like this one doesn't get enough attention. But the final thing that's on the docket is a full Pendragon playthrough. Plenty of people have attempted this before. I've attempted it, so has Stephen Lumpkin. No one has ever actually finished it. I'm gonna probably try again sometime in the summer.
It's the ultimate unfinishable game.
I mean,
it's an amazing game.
It takes
Nobody has ever finished it before.
I mean, it's a 2.5 year commitment, assuming you make every week. So, finally, I've been asked to write several new games. So here we go. This is the bullshit list. These are things I need to read or things I need to write in the near future.
A good Warhammer game.
No, fuck that. I mean, Warhammer's coming out with the newest edition that's going to be based on the Stars Without Number, or not the Stars Without Number, Star Wars dice system. The
Nice.
FFG Star Wars dice. So I expect it'll be pretty good. All right. I've had 3 people ask me to convert Pathfinder's maximum X-Crawl to 5e. I've also had one person repeatedly insist that I write a dating simulator reverse harem role-playing game.
That sounds awful.
So
What is a reverse harem?
reverse harem is when it's one girl with a bunch of guys.
Oh, okay. That sounds boring.
I can tell that you're... Jesus fucking Christ. Well, I'll just give up then, okay?
Wow.
Uh,
Harsh.
I've been low key asking people for a while about dating simulators. It's incredibly hard to find one. Like every single dating simulator I can find is part of another role playing game, like Agarest Generations of War, or Thousand Arms, or Doki Doki Literature Club. Like, there's literally no, or Fate. It's literally not just a fucking game that's like, here's a dating simulator.
Are you
I
looking
mean,
for a TTRPG or
Yeah,
a video game?
I'm looking to convert it into a TTRPG, but I
well,
need
you
to
should
like
just
get
look,
a base set of mechanics down.
you should just look at Honey Pop then. Match
Oh, not
free.
Honey Pop.
It's the best on the market.
I mean, that's not saying much. I was playing Honey Pop. Wait, no, Honey Pop's literally about a fucking match 3 game song. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ.
It's a dating simulator with match free elements, okay?
No, it's a match 3 element with dating. Just fucking get out of here. Get out. Probably are one of those people that likes Audrey.
I never played myself, so.
Ugh. Get Sid Alpha in here to back me up on this. Given the response from this Patreon meeting, I take it that people are not behind the idea of this reverse harem game. But I have had a insistent demand that I look into the mechanics of making this, and at least one person has said, "Oh, that sounds cool."
I mean,
That's where we're at.
I'm being mean. It does sound cool, but you should still interact with people.
It will be
online.
people. I mean, that's
So-
okay. So that's
And you are forming a reverse harem at the same time.
yeah.
So this is the awkward part, and if you get over that with the people, it sounds cool.
There's not going to be Starship Troopers, Dice. It's never going to happen.
No, well, what you do for the reverse harem is you get all the guys to be played by girls and all the girls played by guys. So it's like
Like wrestling isn't wrestling.
so like
Got
EQ
it.
Meg is a girl while like Kelsa.
EQ Meg is a girl. So
Also, it needs to still be ridiculous, so it's not too much fucking, I don't know, slavery with guys.
what?
Fucking you're playing Cleopatra. What's her name? You know.
Cleopatra?
Yeah. Look at my manservants. Dating all of them.
So you can understand why this is pretty hard to write
Yes.
a role-playing game based on this, given the fact that everybody has a different
It
and
seems like a
interesting idea.
recipe for sexism, no matter how careful you are.
Listen,
Yeah, exactly.
Jim, I know
That's
this is going to surprise you, but all dating simulators are recipes for sexism.
So
Right. That's why they're generally terrible.
Everybody's behind Dream Daddy Simulator, though.
what makes it
So like Dream
why-
Daddy role playing game.
No, not that. Only villains do that.
what about taking maid RPG and just make her a mistress with guys?
That was
Instead
a
of-
suggestion someone said, but I'm not totally behind that because Maid RPG has some pretty specific mechanics,
Gotcha.
like the ability to cause random shit to happen at chaotic ass times.
What is the purpose for this in the grand scheme of things? Is it to run a one shot? Is it to literally try to publish something? What is the goal?
To enjoy a fun reverse harem game.
It sounds like
Oh,
maid
Just,
RPG.
just something someone has asked me to write so that they can watch it as a show.
Okay.
No publishing. I'm not the kind of person who publishes
I'm
RPGs.
not
Right,
going
right,
to
right.
put my
I
name
basically
on the
was trying to get a sense of what the goal, how big of a project this was designed to be.
I don't even know. It's not even the first one on my list. I'm way ahead of that in Mass Driver.
Okay.
Okay.
And then next up is I have on the cruise. I'll be reading the Legend of the Five Rings role-playing game. I also need to finish Star Trek Adventures, and by finish I mean begin. I started reading Star Trek Adventures, and the first 90 pages is all backstory and lore with no description of how to play. I got frustrated and closed it eventually. And I read a Waypoint article recently about how racist a game was called Dragons Conquer America. And the more I read the article, the more I was convinced that they'd missed the point, and the game wasn't actually that racist. Because it was literally writ by it's a game about Europeans who bring dragons with them to conquer Mexico and what will become North America. And they keep going on and on about how it's not authentic enough, and then they're like, well, it is written by Mexicans and people of diverse South American culture, but it's just not authentic enough. And I'm like, you know what? It sounds like it's authentic enough. The article was trying to convince me to not play it, which has only convinced me that I want to play it. Now I'm like, okay, this actually sounds pretty cool. I never heard of it before. Unfortunately, the Kickstarter was canceled, but I hold out hope that it will start again. Gonna take a look at it. So, any questions about any of that stuff before I introduce the new special super idea?
Just quick question: 4th edition or 5th edition L5R?
Whatever the new thing is.
The beta?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, then I'm good.
I have no interest in playing whatever the old shitty ass L5R was that I couldn't get through any part of it. And it had like 50 million years of history behind it, and you needed to know 16 different people at any moment. No interest. But apparently they're resetting everything, and that sounds interesting.
Yeah, they reset to a pretty good time too in the storyline. It's still got some of the stuff before that still occurred, but the card game is starting, the RPG are starting back when they originally started without all the extra broken stuff along the way. I was really happy to see the change.
Sure.
Because I mean, I'm missing some of my favorite things, but at the same time, now they could probably be better instead of worse. I have a lot of faith in FFG, despite the fact that I did also play those Warhammer games.
Man, blaming on FFG all of a sudden.
I like them overall.
Fantasy Flight generally does good stuff.
I just
There's
played
just
their
some-
Deathwatch game.
We are ready for the special thing.
Well, I did forget one thing. I always forget something, but I feel like only forgetting one thing isn't that bad. There's a new system that's like Open Legend RPG or GURPS called Genesis that's coming out from FFG, where I've promised to run a one-shot about Nazi vampire blood mages versus like Christian super chaplain Americans and Japanese little schoolgirl horror ghosts and haunted submarines and shit. The World War II called Weird Wars 2, and Weird Wars 2 for Savage Worlds was sick as hell. Like, Savage Worlds sucks super bad. It's an awful system. You should never play it. Everyone who likes it is terrible. Everything about it is bad.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But Weird Wars 2 was an amazing setting. And I'm looking forward to trying it. Rad and Pitbull have both volunteered themselves to go punch Nazis. Although I don't know that punching vampires is an effective method of vampire hunting. It seems inefficient.
Gotta punch 'em all.
Is this Genesis system using their custom Star
Yes,
Wars
it's
dice?
the Star
and all
Wars
that?
dice.
Yeah.
Basically, they were like, man, people love this Star Wars dice thing. What if we just reused it constantly and just changed the name of each die from like Triumph to like Super Critical? All right, great. We're going to re-release the book for $50. Now it's Warhammer. No, it's Genesis. And sure, we'll pick up Star Trek. Yeah.
Do you need to buy dice for each different book to fit the theme?
I mean, I don't see why you would, right? Like, they are offering such dice, but there's no reason why the Star Wars dice won't work. Because even though the symbols might change, their meanings are the exact same.
Yeah, most of it's still the D10, D12, D8s. It's just what the symbols mean. And they also, at least in playtesting for like L5R, they give you a sheet that you can print out and put on sticker paper just to put on your own dice if you want to, just quick and dirty, so you don't have to
Oh, that's cool.
This is
personally try to
madness.
figure it out.
This is blasphemy.
This is alchemy.
That's not
No.
alchemy. That's not alchemy, Zon.
I changed the element of this dice.
I'm
with this
literally
sticker.
pulling this back out to put on because alchemy is the science of understanding, deconstructing, and reconstructing matter. However, it is not an all-powerful art. In order for something to be made, something of equal value must be lost. This is the law of equivalent exchange.
Which anime did you just quote?
There is a taboo among alchemists! I was waiting for someone to interrupt me.
Full Metal Alchemist.
Human transmutation is forbidden, for what could equal the value of a human soul?
But Ed, it's our mom.
It's Full Metal Alchemist that I took that from, and it's friggin' amazing. If you haven't seen the ProZD video for it, I'll pull it up for you. ProZD Alchemy.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, here you go, buddy. Here you go. All right. The final thing to introduce is something we're going to vote on when I get back from my vacation on the 15th. I'm going to take a look at the votes and see what people think. Battletech's been going nuts, and I've had 3 or 4 people who aren't members of the community who pretty excitedly pushing for this thing. And I'm interested about the thing, but the thing takes a lot of work. And the thing is, Battletech's Interstellar Operations book has a new system of warfare called Intersphere at War, which is where each player takes part as one of the great houses of Battletech. So there would be 5 players, and all 2,000 planets of the Inner Sphere come into play. We would literally be playing a game of diplomacy with hundreds of units and thousands of planets. And it would go something like this. Each person controls 60 or more teams of units, each with individual properties. They'll probably all need to be renamed from Interstellar Regiment Team 1 to cool names. I'll be playing Comstar, the neutral arbiter. Orders will be submitted via notes and carried out strictly. Problems with orders will be transmitted back for resolution. For 5 days, people will have the option to commit diplomacy with all the other players, make their moves, and then submit all their moves to me. 1 day will be given to resolve any issues with orders, and then on the final day, I will be broadcasting a news brief. The news brief will be weekly readings of orders, where I will sit down for a couple hours and work through, this person has ordered this unit to this area, and now there will be combat there, or these 2 units have retreated into each other, you know, they both retreat from different planets, now they arrive on the same planet, what happens? Based on everything that happens, I'll be doing a Swan Song style 15-minute long-ish broadcast of, here's the major hotspots across the Inner Sphere, here's where all the battle's going, here's where mistakes were made, you know, that kind of stuff. The winner will be the first person to take 3 interstellar capitals, or any pair of allied players who take all capitals. And I'll be asking players to commit to 3 months over 12 weeks. It'll probably take far longer than that, but I'm interested to see how far we go. Patreon players will play Mercenary Regiment Commanders. Depending on what tier they are, they'll get a number of extra battle mech regiments, and thus be much, much stronger than other battle mech regiments in the process. They will get to pick what planet they start on and what faction they start on, and then we'll work with each faction's leader in order to do operations on their behalf. At any time, they can choose to betray and flip to another side, but this game does rely on having supply lines, so if you're like, alright, I'm deep within faction A, I'm going to flip to betray, you're going to be found without any tactical support, and will probably run out of men pretty quickly. So the 5 players, I don't particularly need them to be streamers. I don't need them to be, entertainers, it's just any 5 people who are willing to do a 2,000 planet interstellar war and keep track of a massive spreadsheet of units, and commit to putting orders in every week. That's it. That's the pitch. Whether people actually want to see this or not.
So only 5 people would play in it, or only 5 would be like on the show?
There's no show to it. It would literally just be 5 people submitting orders.
So what's the difference from this game and Diplomacy?
Diplomacy only has about 30 provinces and that many units. This is going to be, if you've ever sat down and said, I would love to be a commander of a massive war. If you've ever been a part of like a multi-month long, World War II recreation campaign where you're moving tanks across the battlefield, and every time 2 tanks collide, you sit down and play a battle. That's what this is going to be.
Yeah, so like I really dislike Diplomacy. I just don't have
And
the
this
head
will not
for
be for you.
Yeah, but I love BattleTech and I want to play more of that thing.
This will
This
have
is
nothing
diplomacy on a massive scale,
Yes.
basically.
This will have little or nothing to do with BattleTech Total War.
Then
And
I
so when you
don't
say the
know.
patrons would have these different tiers, those would be
Size of units.
would those be the? So you said there's only 5 players. Are those 5 people from the patron, or
No.
are the
Any
patrons...
5 people who want to take the spot.
So what do the tiered patrons do to the 5 people?
They will become mercenary commanders. So they'll be, instead of having control over an entire interstellar army, they'll have control of 1 to 5 regiments of battle mechs and infantry vehicles, aerospace. So they'll be capable of taking planets by themselves and will work with whichever faction they want to sign themselves up for.
Oh, I see. So they can basically be...
There are additional
the
armies
game changer.
that don't have to be paid for.
Okay, so how do you... So the 5 players do not need to be Patreons, but they're like, oh yeah, we do this thing and this takes time. So it's still a commitment, but not a show.
Yes, it's going to be a pretty big commitment, but instead of having to sit down for a 4-hour show, you can literally spend 5 days during the week writing up, figuring things out. It's the Ronald Swan of doing things.
How do you expect for, like, will there be like rounds? Like, does a game finish and you start a new session like in a month?
No. The
With
first
new
person
players.
to reach 3 interstellar capitals or a pair of players to wipe everybody else off the map will win.
Yeah,
That's
because I'm
supposed
like
to take a
control.
very long
if other
time.
players would want to play and there's only 5 players, or that kind of stuff. If it's
I
only
mean, that's it. I literally can't add more than 5 players. I don't even know if we're gonna be able to get to 5 players.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm asking like 5 players play. There is a win scenario, like somebody wins, and then we start from scratch again, and you get to make.
That is something
More.
I refuse to consider until we get to the end.
Okay. Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. It seems a long way in the future to plan for a second game that is a multi-month game before you play the first one.
Yeah, like I don't understand the scope of the game itself. Like, is this going to take several months?
Yes.
Of
As I
commitment?
mentioned, I'm going to be asking all the players to commit to at least 3 months, and it will probably take much more than that.
Okay.
I mean, just playing Civ 6 can take,
A year.
2 rounds can take 2 days or a month, depending on people's schedule. And you got to lock them down to this, and they're already got so much to do. I mean,
Does
obviously,
this
the first one took forever.
this doesn't include like the actual board game BattleTech?
No. It's using rules from BattleTech's Interstellar Operations sourcebook.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't a battle simulator. This is a campaign.
Yes, it's a war
Simulation.
simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, like playing Stellaris or something. You don't play the battles, play everything around it.
I mean, in Stellaris, you have massive battles, but they tend to go by pretty quickly.
Okay. So yeah, like it sounds cool. I'm still in for it. Like it sounds awesome. I'm just not good at this stuff, so I'm cautiously optimistic. As yeah, my own fucking mercenary army, and then I die because I have no idea how to handle a mercenary army.
I mean, I can't help you there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
what I
certainly
expect.
something that could happen. I
I am
mean,
expecting at least like 3/4 of the players in this game having no idea what to do with this power. And one guy, like you in diplomacy, knows everything, puts up his glasses as he does his chess moves. It's going to be a huge imbalance of engagement and fun and trying to figure out how to be successful in the game.
It's just like diplomacy. If
Yeah,
one player
Yeah.
is
yeah.
too far
Yes.
I have
ahead,
no
the
answer to
other
that. Like,
players need
Yes.
to converge on him and stop him.
yeah, that's
Which is
literally
what
exactly how it
which is
works
what
out.
Lucas and I did to Arthur in the diplomacy game, where Arthur was Austria and I was England and whatnot.
I'm
Nobody
pretty sure I
liked
still won that one.
You guys
We
know how to
tied. We
snooze.
won it together.
I just
I won
went
my
all
first
the
game
time.
by smoozing, and I walked away and like, you know what? That's not going to happen again.
It sounds cool. I'm still up for it.
So if people want
The
to,
challenge will be to find the 5 people
yes.
who are
So
willing
if
to
people
commit
are
that much time.
interested in this show and want to see it, they need to send me an email at apgamingreal because I'll be keeping track of votes. If you don't want to see it, also send your vote in to the AP Gaming Reel email, apgamingreal@gmail.com. Otherwise, I'm not gonna know. So this will be if we get enough people saying yes, or enough people not saying no, this will be replacing the Star Wars game.
When would this start?
At least in January. And again, I don't even have players yet, and
Mhm.
I won't until I get back from vacation, which is on the 15th December.
The thing that I want out of this is like I'm just thinking of this, but I think it would be cool if you would have not a GM prep of this game, but a battle report each week of like
That is what I
20
said.
minutes.
We would have
Oh,
a news report every week compiling
Awesome.
everything that happened.
I'm sorry, I missed that part. Yes. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Somehow this ended up taking less time than a normal session, even though it was recapping an entire year. All right, that's it.